I, male 34, and my wife, female 43, have been together for 16 years and married for 7. We have a 4-year-old daughter. After the first few years where my wife was very kind, present, loving, and affectionate, things have changed a lot. I rarely receive kisses from her, let alone hugs or kind words. She doesn't ask how I am in the morning, let alone say good morning or good night. I am tired of this. I have told her in every possible way that as a man, I need these expressions of love to feel loved. Her excuse is that she is too stressed because of the child, but these things were happening even before our daughter was born, or that everything depends on my behavior towards her. Every time, it always depends only on me. When we argue about this, she says, I'm exaggerating. Tired of arguing about this for a year, I have recorded in a diary all her expressions of love over the past month. Here, you see a screenshot. I know it may seem exaggerated, but believe me, I am exhausted and don't know how else to show her the lack of love I feel from her. Can you tell me if you, who have a beautiful marriage and are deeply in love with your husband-wife, have so few demonstrations of affection during the month? What I don't understand is that sexually, things are fine and we have intimacy 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes initiated by her. I am fed up. I don't feel loved as I would like, and I have lived like this for many years and now I can't take it anymore. Please don't get mad at me. Everyone needs their own time to understand certain things, and I realized this over the past year. I am a romantic, passionate, and attentive man. Normally, I can give 5 to 6 hugs a day, kisses, compliments, surprises, and I can talk about anything and discuss things in different ways. However, being treated like this makes me shut down and withdraw because of the lack of reciprocity. I am seriously thinking of divorcing because I don't feel heard or understood. I don't see a person who understands and takes action to change the situation. Now, for a few important comments. When asked about the breakdown of household chores, OP said, I'm doing 50-50, working, watching the kid, trash, laundry, blah, blah, blah. The fact is that even before the kid, she behaved like that. I don't want my wife to be my mommy, and I'm fully capable to live alone and do everything because I already had. When asked to elaborate on, or that everything depends on my behavior towards her, OP explained, basically we're running in this circle until some months ago. I don't receive what I ask, affection, and I'm treated poorly, so after a long time of patiently waiting for change, I stonewall get offended. We have a fight because of this. She says she has enough of the stonewalling and me being offended because it hurts her. We end the fight with me being the one that swallows it and try to let it go. I try to tell her what is causing this and to take action. Time passes and we're again from the start. Some months ago, I read about stonewalling and how bad it is, so I ended it. But still, it's really hard for me to get through this lack of affection. The problem is that I've been also treated very bad during these fights. Yelled at, called names, divorce threatening by her side. I'm hurt on so many levels. When asked what he is doing to love her back, OP said, the diary is about facts, not my emotions. If I receive no hugs for 5 days in a row, it's no hugs for 5 days in a row. I tell her I love her. I tell her how beautiful she is. I joke with her. I buy her preferred premium soda when I do groceries. I ask her how she feels when she's ill and I take care of her. But do I feel reciprocated? No idiots here. OP further elaborated exactly this. I feel felt with this comment, even if we have a difficult 4-year-old child. I mean, we have a lot of relaxed moments where I do kiss her, hug her for some seconds, tell her something nice. It is impossible that she's so stressed that she can't even hold my hand for some seconds. I think that the issue with her is that she comes from a family where the father was really hurtful, hitting, calling name, etc., and in constant fight with the mother, cheating. I think that she received love from her mother, but she didn't from his father, and that's the result. But from the other side, I don't understand how she could give me what I needed the first 1.5 years of the relationship just because it was new. I also asked how her 2 previous relationships were with the partners, if they complained about these things, but she says they didn't and that she was giving them hugs, etc. But in this case, they were 3/4 years older than her. Then OP replied to a comment asking why a nice 27-year-old woman would pursue an 18-year-old and manipulate him. Thanks, but why would a nice 27-yo woman pursue a 18-yo and manipulate him and get him to commit? What are your hypotheses? Thanks. When a commenter suggested that older men might have seen she didn't have enough to offer for a long-term relationship, OP asked, so you think they already understood her lack of affection and attention for a long-term relationship, the issues I'm having right now? I always thought that she doesn't have respect for me because also of the age gap, so she doesn't treat me well. When asked if she lacked affection the majority of the marriage, OP said, "Yep, she did. I don't know how they were able to spot this." When asked if he showed his affection for his wife and what her response was, OP replied, "Yes, 2 months ago I even questioned myself to the point I treated her like a princess for 2 weeks straight, not getting offended, telling her constantly how I love her, how sexy she is, hugging, kissing a lot of times with hearth, but what I received in return. Just 2 compliments and 1 I love you in 2 weeks. After this I felt so bad and not reciprocated that I decided to not do this test, if you want to call it this way, anymore. It hurt too much." Now for the 3-day update. I spoke to my wife about the diary and she was upset. She said it felt like I was keeping score and that it wasn't fair to her. We had a long discussion about our relationship and she agreed to try to be more affectionate. I hope things will improve, but I'm still considering divorce if they don't. These days, after publishing the post, I've spent a lot of time reading online, watching reels, watching YouTube videos to better understand my situation, and thanks to one of these, I discovered the issue of avoidant attachment style. I was stunned by how closely my wife fit the description, and I set out to thoroughly study the case. I also identified other things I should do in my relationship: set clear boundaries, demand that my requests are understood, respected, and fulfilled, stand firm in my position, and if necessary, make it clear that I am willing to leave. I showed the Excel sheet to my wife the next day. Her first response was, "But yesterday we cuddled." I told her, "Look at the facts over the past month. There are things you never do, and the few things you do are a result of my complaints or arguments. They're not debatable. I'm sorry." Then I told her what I discovered and how she fits into the case. I read her the main characteristics of these people and the types of traumas they have gone through in their lives. I explained to her, knowing her personal family story, that this was mainly thanks to the abuse she received when she was a kid from her parents. My wife was stunned and listened, then asked me, "So what should I do to solve this?" My answer was, "I don't know," because I really don't know. The thing I do know and what I told her is that these problems were generated in her childhood and need to be addressed now. I'm now informing myself about the options available to solve or at least alleviate these issues. Sadly, we have difficult schedules, so a therapist is now off the table. During the day, I cried a lot because finally, after 16 years, I understood why we had these problems. A strong sadness came over me because I recalled all the situations where I was treated badly, with indifference, and did not receive the affection I wanted. I also remembered all the lies and manipulations used over time to cover up her shortcomings. I think the first step is to focus on myself and solve my own problems since I developed an anxious attachment style. I'll probably use an online course and books to do this since I have very little time between my daughter and work. If it works, I will propose it to my wife, who says, "I understand, don't worry, now I know what I need to give you without courses or anything." But I have serious doubts about this statement and will continue to track what happens in my diary to have objective data. I've already told her that if, unfortunately, this situation doesn't resolve, I will proceed with divorce, and when I do, if forced, I won't go back. That will be the end. Personally, I want to see how things go next week. I am sure, unless I am mistaken, that my wife will only last 3 days. In any case, I will continue on my path to heal and be ready for a new relationship when the time comes. Stay tuned. If anyone has experience with a spouse healing from an avoidant attachment style, please let me know. Now for the 1-month update. So, as expected, my wife lasted less than 3 days, actually just 1, in terms of giving kisses, hugs, cuddling. But it doesn't matter. I found all the things I need to fix in me, so I'm starting the journey alone in order to grow and be able, without hesitation, to proceed with a divorce and don't go back to her. I'm also seeing a lawyer to have everything checked before I proceed in the future. The interesting thing is that I listed all my insecurities and issues related to the trauma I experienced in my childhood, and I see a lot of things that I need to work about and to fix in me. I asked out of curiosity to my wife, what are the top 3 things she thinks should be fixed, expecting them to be at least 10 items, but she just told me that defensiveness and stonewalling are the only 2 things, and that, without them, I would be a perfect husband. I was stunned and confused the whole day. I also asked her if removing these 2 things would result in her loving me more, but she told me no, because she already loves me the way I am, and this is just my cross. So it seems she's happy with the marriage while I'm not. I want more from a relationship, at least the basic caring of a wife. I don't think I'll give you any other update because I'll be focused improving things in myself. But once the time's come for me to proceed with the divorce, I'll let you know what happens. Stay tuned. Now for a few important comments. Thanks for sharing your story. While I'm trying to start my healing process, I'm literally crying every day preparing myself for divorce. The probability of her change is less than 1%, and the issues we have are deep-rooted in the past. I tried everything to get her attention. I gave her all the love I could possibly give. I tried so many times to accommodate to her way of being, but I have enough. I'm heartbroken. My dear wife, my dear lovely wife, my first woman in my life. I did everything I could to love her with all my heart and be recognized for this, loved for this. Every small bid for attention is lost in the dark. I'm really heartbroken. I'm just preparing myself for the divorce, trying to cry out all the tears before I finally tell her I'm leaving. It's one of the most difficult things to do in my life. And believe me, I did crazy and difficult things in the past. This one is probably going to unalive me, but I need to proceed. I can't live like that any longer. And I don't want my child to see and become like this, because the chances for her to find a good partner will lower considerably. Then another commenter asked if he tried to connect with his wife over the years, being affectionate in their marriage. Yes, I tried that for a couple of years, also during Infection 19, but man, it was hell. Me just working, playing video games till half in the morning, sometimes watch a movie with her where she always fell asleep. No real connection. Just me doing something and she on her phone. I remember one time one friend of ours saying that he was about to disconnect from the game because he was requested by his girlfriend that wanted to stay with him and watch something together. I tried this, but it feels to me like I'm always missing something. I don't have that deep connection. I'm alone and feel alone. Then, when we have arguments, I have no love bank filled to be able to face that. Sort of, okay, you're mean to me, but 3 hours ago, you were kissing me, telling me I love you. I have only negative feelings. Also, this way of being, it's not me. I want to feel wanted. I want to be cuddled. I need love. If I'm feeling bad, I want someone being able to hug me and tell me, sweetheart, don't worry. Everything is going to be all right. She never does this. Instead, says things like, level up, life is hard, blah, blah, blah. I know that it's her traumas, and I don't have any resentment towards her. I just can't keep up with this. Also, I love to give love. Stopping from doing this is devastating. I also have other issues like she almost never initiate any discussion, doesn't allocate time for me. It's always me chasing her, and I have enough of it. Intimacy can't be our only way of connection. She's always with me, but her mind is somewhere else. I tried to enter in her mind, but no luck in 16 years. I'm talking about this issue with my wife for a full year. She frequently denies it by saying things like, it's not true. Tomorrow I'll show you. This very morning I gave you a kiss. I'm affectionate. See other couples. They don't engage anymore after all these years. Blah, blah, blah. How would you feel after 1 full year of sweet attempts to talk about an issue? Frequently, she says that her lack of affection is due to me doing XYZ. I had to create the spreadsheet to have evidence of an issue. The evidence shows that the affection I receive is only when I have a fight with her or complain the day before. 1 day of change followed by weeks of nothing. It bothered her, and she was angry. Sure. I get the frustration of seeing something like that, but does she get my 1 year frustration? I'm not threatening divorce over a spreadsheet. I'm threatening over 1 year of trying to talk and solve the issue. I could have said just, I'm done, bye-bye, 1 year ago. I rather fought with everything that came to my mind. Yeah, so I created a spreadsheet after months of no affection. So you could create a spreadsheet with 0 in every cell for 90 days. You don't know what you're talking about, and surely you don't know what it feels like to receive no affection in a marriage for so long. Do I have personal issues and traumas? Yes, sir, and I'm going to address them. Does my wife have issues and traumas? Yes, sir, but is she going to do something about it? Nope. At least this will be the most probable scenario. So hence the divorce, so she can provide her carelessness to whoever she wants to. Now for a few important comments. I never expected my life story to be published here. It was a total surprise, really. I spent most of my Reddit life silently reading instead of posting. I'm reading all your comments and I'm laughing at the speculation that's being made. You're lacking a lot of details and context, but it seems that you know more than me. Amazing. I wanted to thank all of you who sent me messages and chats to support me. I promise to provide updates in the next weeks. Since a lot of Reddit stories help me in different contexts, work, family, relationship, I just wanted to give back my 5 cents with my own story. I wish you all the best. Am I the idiot for telling my boyfriend's creepy dad to back off and stop blissing me out? My female 19, partner's dad, male 60, has been acting really off the past few weeks and has been refusing to talk about it. The other day, he was driving me somewhere and said he wanted to talk to me about it. So thinking it would probably help him to get it off his chest, I said sure. One thing to understand about him is he is very spiritual, very into meditation and balancing your energy and all that sort of stuff. So it's making this very confusing and I'm very conflicted about it all. He told me that it all started a few months ago when he walked in on my partner giving me head. He said he saw my pupils dilated as I was clearly sexually aroused and my arms above my head. And he saw my armpit hair and got this overwhelming sense of wanting to bliss me out with cunnilingus. Oral intimacy, but made it clear that he didn't want to have intercourse with me. He said it wasn't in an intimacy way, but a sensual way, because he wanted me to embrace my goddess, spiritual term for inner self as a sexual/sensual being. On top of all that, he told me that my earthly goddess, physical form, was beautiful, and that he really likes my neck and the shape of my breasts. He claims he just wants me to be confident in myself and not be self-conscious, because I have nothing to be self-conscious about, and I'm a beautiful young woman who is more powerful than I realize, and I should carry myself around the world with that knowledge. He admitted that he was ashamed for thinking what he thought and for visualizing it and everything, but that he wanted me to walk away from the conversation feeling good about myself, because that's how he intended all of that to come across. I don't think he's talked about it to anyone else, and I haven't told my partner yet. Partly because I don't know how, but also because I'm still trying to understand it all myself. I trust him, and I know he wouldn't do anything to me that I didn't want, but there's just this unease I feel around him now. And he looks at me almost like there's this secret between us, and it's really unsettling. I don't want my partner to confront him about it, because what if he takes it the wrong way? Or what if I've taken it the wrong way, and it was all harmless? I really don't know how I feel about it all. Obviously, I'm embarrassed that he's seen me in such a vulnerable position, and the fact that he wanted to bliss me out like that is really weird. But maybe I'm reading into it more than I should, and he's just talking about me embracing my goddess and learning to balance my energy. It's been a couple of days since the talk, and I'm so confused, and I want to tell my partner, but I just don't know how to. Edit. When he mentioned seeing my armpit hair, the reason he wanted to bliss me out is apparently because he likes things to be natural, and he said it could be called a fetish, which made me really uncomfy and super conscious of my t-shirt sleeves whenever he's around. Now for a few comments. Mike and Z. Hey, how old is your boyfriend? If his dad is 60, my guess is he's probably around 30. I think creepiness runs in the family. No idiots here. My partner is 19 but has an older sister who's nearly 30. My partner is the youngest of 3. Although you're technically an adult, you're significantly younger than this man, and this is grooming behavior. That feeling that you're getting of as if there's a secret between you two. That's because he manipulated you and essentially sweet-talked you into feeling grateful for his frankly creepy, unwarranted, and dangerous way of approaching this. Get away from that man. Tell your SO. How did he even walk in on you and your SO anyway? Has this happened before? OP. My partner still lives with their parents, and because of study and work, I live with them too, and there's no lock on the bedroom door. Usually he'll knock. I don't even remember him walking in on the instance he was telling me about. Now, for the one-day update. Little update. Last night I was making tea, and when he came up to grab his mug, he brushed my hair away and was looking at my neck. It made me so incredibly uncomfortable, and I'm definitely going to tell my partner. He's been saying a lot lately about how his memory isn't what it used to be, and sometimes he can't get words out when he knows what he wants to say. So I'm going to bring up that it could be some sort of health concern when I talk to my partner. Thank you so much to everyone who offered help and support. Now for the 2-day update. Update. I told my partner and they were shocked and disgusted that their dad would say something like that. They've been super protective of me and not let me be alone with him at all. And the only reason they haven't gone nuclear on him is because I asked them not to. He got me alone again this morning when my partner was out at work and no one else was home. And we talked about how it was uncomfortable, and it really just sounded creepy the way he was trying to justify it all. He brushed my hair away from my neck and held my face, and I said it was uncomfortable and didn't like it. And he kept doing it and just said some BS about me needing to learn to be comfortable, being vulnerable, and ask myself why I'm uncomfortable. And it was just a really unsettling thing, especially because he did all that while claiming he respected my boundaries. He said he wanted to consume me and talked about how he wants to help teach me how to harness and embrace my goddess. And when I told him I didn't like that, he'd brought up so much intimacy stuff. He said that that was a part of getting to know yourself and learning what you like, and it just made me feel so icky. I'll keep updating as things progress and keep myself safe. Thank you so much to everyone who gave advice, and especially to those of you who are spiritual/tantric practitioners who said it wasn't normal behavior. You helped validate my experience and feelings, and I feel less guilty. Now for the 6-month update. For context, see my other post. So since everything in that post happened, me and my partner and him all talked about it, and it was awkward and horrible. But in the end, I thought we'd resolved it, or at least come to some sort of conclusion. Since then, everything's been relatively normal. But today my partner's dad came into my work to talk to me about everything. I work in a pretty small store, so it's quiet most of the time. In essence, he said that seeing me in that vulnerable position, receiving oral intimacy from my partner, unlocked his feminine side, spiritually. He told me that he's a homosexual, but he doesn't want to change his gender or anything, and that he doesn't see me as someone he wants to have intimacy with, but as a homosexual lover. He said he loves my insecurities, and he loves that I have insecurities because I don't need them. I'm very beautiful, and I have a beautiful body, and he's jealous of it. He admitted that when I gave him a hug recently, he nearly kissed the nape of my neck, but just as he was about to, he stopped himself because he realized what he was doing. He told me that when we had that big chat with my partner about everything, it hurt that we saw him as a dirty old man. But if I saw him as a dirty homosexual, it would be fine. He said that every moment he's focusing on me, he's making love to me, spiritually. He said that he doesn't get erections anymore. Obviously, he said not to tell anyone, and that's where I'm torn. It's such a bizarre thing for him to say to me, and I don't want to out him if that is genuinely how he feels, but it's seriously making me so uncomfortable, and I just don't know how to deal with it on my own. Also, how the frick do I just say to my partner, "Hey, your dad told me he's a homosexual"? When he said goodnight to me just now, I was alone in the kitchen, and he put a hand on my shoulder and said, "You are so beautiful." I just kind of looked at him and didn't say anything. I've already told him my boundaries and that I don't in any way reciprocate those feelings, but he doesn't seem to respect that or understand that I'm uncomfortable because that was never his intention. And in him saying all those things, he just wants me to be confident in myself because I'm beautiful and he adores me. I genuinely don't know what to do. This is such a freaking weird situation, and I can't deal with it. I told my best friend, and she said it's serious intimacy harassment, and I need to find another place to live. After the whole nearly kissing me thing, I don't have much faith that he wouldn't actually do something or try something, and I'm so scared. I was finally at a point in my life where I was relatively happy and confident in myself, and he's just taken it all away from me. I want to change every part of myself so he won't be attracted to me. I want to shave everything. Body hair is a fetish of his, and when I told him I wanted to shave my armpits because of him, he said, "Don't do that. They're beautiful," and get more tattoos or cover myself in scars. He likes clean skin, just so he won't find me beautiful anymore. I hate that he's got this much power over me, but I just don't know what to do. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "Yeah, so your partner needs to move out of his dad's house and you need to stop going there. Full stop. The dude is a deviant and he's trying to manipulate you into seeing him as a viable intimacy option. At the very least, he's engaging in a fetish and subjecting you to that. Your lack of consent or pushing your consent may even be part of that fetish. Remove yourself from that situation entirely. If he comes into your work, either someone else can serve him or he can leave. You do not speak to him." Now for the 4-month update. Content warning, intimacy harassment. Okay, update. Everything was fine. I thought we'd move past it. Famous last words, I know. He went for a walk a couple days ago and sent me this text. "Please don't share cockwell. The problem with having a pancake butt combined with a muffin top is that the muffin pushes down on my pants and there's nothing there to hold them up, just my slippery slide butt. So whenever I go on a walk, I'm constantly pulling up my jocks and jeans without trying to be noticed. To add insult to injury, when I lose weight, the pancake gets flatter and the muffin seems to stay the same. I'm cursed. I like pancakes on their own, but those days are gone for me. What the actual frick? How is this on any level, okay? What could have possibly possessed him to think this was an okay thing to send to his son's partner? Then he goes around the house making all these comments about how he's alone and no one cares, and he's always freaking up and embarrassing himself, and he doesn't deserve shoot. I'm freaking miserable, but it's not financially viable for me right now to move out. I don't have my license or a car, neither does my partner, and my work is a short walk from the house, so I couldn't even move too far away unless I transferred to a different store, which I don't know if I could do. Plus, there's a bunch of other stuff I can't go into without sacrificing my anonymity. I need to get out of here, but I just don't know how." Now for a relevant comment. One commenter said, "Document screenshot every incident, then tell him outright that if he keeps it up, you're taking all the evidence and charging him for intimacy harassment. Don't wait for him to keep it up. Press charges anyway. Am I the idiot for struggling to raise my son alone after my wife's death and seeking support from strangers online?" Originally posted to r/new parents, 12 days after giving birth to our first child, my wife suffered a fatal blood clot. I spent the last 9 months reading posts here and thinking about all the challenges my wife and I had ahead of us. But I was never really worried because we were a great team. I was so excited to see my wife become the most amazing mother. We spent hours talking about the future, about the things we would teach our son, about the experiences we would share. I am now a widower and a single father to a newborn. I am broken. There are a million scenarios running through my head, and in none of them can I do this without her. My wife gave my life purpose. The loneliness I feel is unlike anything I could have ever imagined. I love my son, and I will do everything in my power to raise him in a way that would make my wife proud. But in this moment, that feels impossible. I'm not really sure what the purpose of this post is. If anyone has any suggestions on how I could possibly move forward, I am all ears. Thank you all for your comments and DMs. The response to this post was far greater than I expected. I can't respond to everyone, but I am reading all of the comments. I am grateful for all of the kind words, condolences, thoughts, prayers, well wishes, words of encouragement, and advice, and I'm especially grateful to those of you who shared your own experiences with loss and grief. I expect I will be looking back at this post for quite a while. Now for the top comment. Commenter Wildflower923 said, "I'm so sorry. I don't know if I can find the words or if the words exist to console you and your family after such a profound loss. We grieve because we loved, and that love makes it so hard to say goodbye. You will miss her, and that will feel like agony at times. But whenever you miss her, you can see her in your son's face. Someday, when his personality starts to peek through, you'll catch glimpses of her through him. You'll hear her in his laugh, see her in his smile. When it feels like the world is closing in on you and you're at the end of your rope, but you miraculously find the strength to persevere, that's her too. The will to persevere and keep pushing on in the face of unimaginable heartache, that's your wife. Grief can feel like a thick, choking fog, and to be completely honest, it never goes away. But you grow bigger around it. Right now, you may feel paralyzed, but you will navigate this with grace, and you will emerge on the other side of this. You're both going to make it, and you're going to make her so proud. Sending you and your family so much love. Now for the 5-month update. A few months back, I created this post about the death of my wife shortly after the birth of my son. I received a tremendous outpouring of support, both in comments and messages as a result of that post, so I wanted to share an update with you all. My son is 6 months old today. That means in 12 days, I will have lived half a year as a single parent, half a year as a widower. When I created my original post, it was nearly impossible for me to imagine I would ever make it this far. Figuring out how to mourn for my wife, while simultaneously figuring out how to care for a newborn, has been, without a doubt, the greatest challenge of my life. I know that I still have so much progress to make on both fronts, but for today at least, I am happy to report that my son is thriving. I am hesitant to say this because I know so many people here are struggling with any number of baby difficulties, and because I don't want to jinx it, but I think I might just have the easiest baby in the history of babies. He is eating and growing like crazy. He is on a fairly regular nap schedule. He has been sleeping through the night for months, 10 to 12 hours every single night, and when he is awake, he is almost always in a good mood. It's like he knows that I am not supposed to be doing this on my own, feels bad for me, and has decided to go easy on me. Despite my son's best efforts to make my life easier, the past 6 months have certainly been the hardest of my life. It is truly terrifying to think of all the challenges I have ahead of me. The prospect of raising my son on my own, and in a way that would make my wife proud, is truly daunting. Plus, now if I screw him up, I've got no one to share the blame with. It's 100% on me. But at least now I have some hope. After all, the next 6 months can't possibly be harder than the last. And if I can make it to 1 year, who's to say I won't make it to 2? I will never stop missing my wife. And though I long for reunion with her, I have come to accept that before I can know that joy, I have a major responsibility in this life. I will put everything I have and everything I am into raising my son in honor of her. I will keep her memory alive and make sure he knows everything there is to know about his amazing, loving, funny, sarcastic, outspoken, vibrant, beautiful mother. Now for a few comments. Commenter Assistance Kitchen 276 said, "From a mom of a 6-month-old, you are an incredible father and you most definitely don't need to make your wife proud, because without a single doubt, she already is. I am in awe of you and your strength. I wish more than anything that you didn't have to be this strong, that things could have been different for you. But despite everything life has thrown at you, you have stayed constant and loving in your son's life. I don't know you, but I'm so freaking proud of you." Then OP replied, "I really don't consider myself to be strong. I still fall apart most days. And I would never have made it this far without the amazing community that has stepped up and surrounded me in the wake of my wife's death. But thank you for the incredibly kind words.